Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Ian J. Cole. I'm a musician, producer, educator, and I also run a business called Sinners Music Limited, which is a music shop and a record label. And in this series of videos we're going to demystify what it's like to run a record label. And if you haven't watched the first video in this series, and the link is down below, please stop this video and go and watch that one first. In the last video we looked at searching for the name of a record label, and we had an introduction to Companies House, and we looked at the different types of record label. In this video we're going to look at registering your business and deciding whether you need to consider whether you should be VAT registered or not. So the first thing we need to do is we need to register a business, and we need to do that with the UK government. There are different types of businesses that we could run, and I'll put all the links to the websites that I use in this video in the links below, but there's quite a lot of useful information on the gov.uk site. So this page shows you how to set up a business, and it discusses the different types of business. So if you're setting the business up on your own, you may want to consider being a sole trader. The good thing about being a sole trader is that when it comes to employing accountants and things like that, it's cheaper than a limited company. The downside is that you're personally responsible for all of the business's debt. If you rack up £100,000 worth of debt in the first year, then you will be liable for that debt. A limited company, on the other hand, what basically happens with a limited company is that you become an employee of the limited company. So the fact that it says it's a limited company means that there is limited liability. So if you rack up £100,000 worth of debt, that can be written off if the business goes bankrupt. The downside of having a limited company, you'll have to pay corporate tax, and your accountancy bills, if you use an accountant, will be probably 3 times higher than if you were a sole trader or a partnership or in a partnership. The current charges for a minimum charges for a limited company is in 2019 is somewhere between £600 and £700 plus VAT. Now if you're VAT registered, you'll be able to get the VAT back. If you're not VAT registered, then your accountancy bill for filing your returns at the end of each year will be £600 plus another 20% VAT. Partnership works in the same way as a sole trader, in the sense that if you are in collaboration with a colleague or two, you can actually set up a partnership. Again, all of the partners, if you've got 4 partners in your business, then all of the partners will share the responsibility for the business's debts. So again, if there's £100,000 worth of debt and there's 4 partners, each partner will be liable for £25,000 worth of debt. So those are the things that's worth considering when you set up your business. And there are other particular rules about selling goods, especially if you're going to be selling goods and merchandise abroad. There are a whole set of different rules about that, and again separate rules for selling goods online. We'll look at these in future videos. If you've decided that you want to set up a limited company, there are a couple of ways that you would do this. One is that you would go to a particular page on the gov.uk site, which is linked directly to what's called Companies House, and you go through a whole series of questions of setting up the company, from choosing the name. We do know that Bog Off Records is a name that we could choose, so it would become Bog Off Records Limited, and then you choose directors and company secretary and all of this sort of thing. Now the cost for that is quite reasonable. It's £12 fixed fee if you do it online through the website, and it will help you set up the limited company step by step. If I remember rightly, it takes maybe about half an hour in total, and the company will be live within 24 hours. The other way to do this is to do it on paper, and to do the process on paper and fill everything in on paper will cost you £40. So HMRC do not, and Companies House do not want you to do this job in paper. They want you to do it online. There is another way of doing it, which is to buy a package, and there are companies out there that this is one of them. It looks limited companies is a company, and they are selling a service, and you can buy different versions. So just to reserve a name costs £17, a basic package, which would be registration, the company's house fees, which is the £12, digital certification, that sort of stuff, will cost you £50, $49.99. And then they have a series that's called Ready to Trade, and you can buy different versions. There's a Standard Plus would include registration for VAT, which you can do separately. It doesn't cost you anything to register for VAT, but if you don't want to be bothered with the paperwork yourself, you can pay for these packages to do that. And these websites and limited companies is not the only people that do this. There are several websites out there that will do the hard graft for you. When I set up Sinners Music, I decided to do it myself. I went through the process of filling in all of the company's house and HMRC information, and then I separately set up my VAT account. So I hope that's useful. So, like I said, the first thing to decide is whether you actually want to be sole trader, or if there's more than one of you, partnership. Fundamentally the same thing. Downside is that you're liable for all of the debts of the business, or whether you want to be a limited company. Again, the downsides of that is that your accountancy bills will be more expensive. I may not have said, but the accountancy bills per year for a sole trader or a partnership are usually somewhere around between £200 and £300. Now, if you've got some experience in being able to create a set of accounts, you can do this yourself. What I did with Sinners Music was for the first 3 years we had an accountant, paying them £600 a year plus VAT, and they handled all of our interactions with Companies House and HMRC. After that first 3 years, I then decided to do the accounts myself. So for the last 4 years, I have submitted the accounts to HMRC and Companies House myself. It takes time. It takes time putting a full set of accounts together and then converting that into the information that HMRC and Companies House want. So, I mean, I think that probably takes probably about a whole week of working 8 hours a day over several weeks in preparation, and then when it comes to submitting it, again probably about another day. So you need to factor that in. But having said that, each year it is saving me £600 plus VAT, where that money can be spent elsewhere in the business. When it comes to looking at VAT, if you're not familiar with the way that the VAT system works in the UK, currently the VAT rate is 20%. Now that's not for all goods, because there are goods that are zero rated and some goods that are exempt. To give you an example, zero rated goods would be if you are selling music books that are published music books. If you wanted to sell the latest Taylor Swift songbook, that would be zero rated. But if you wanted to sell a blank sheet music book, that's not zero rated. That is liable to a 20% VAT. So everything that you sell through your business, so if you're selling CDs, or you're selling merchandise or t-shirts, mugs, whatever it is, then you'll have to charge 20% VAT on all of that sort of stuff. The other side of that is that anything you buy in for the business as a legitimate expense, you would be able to claim the VAT back. And that would go from everything from buying toilet rolls to buying synthesizers for a studio and anything in between. So you can claim all of that stuff back. So you're going to get 20% off whatever you buy, providing it's not going to be there to be resold. So there is one other thing, that if your business turns over more than £85,000 a year, then you will have to become VAT registered. Anything below that you don't have to, and there is talk of them actually extending that ceiling, but currently anything over 85,000 you must be VAT registered. And again, there's a whole series of gov.uk website that will guide you through the process of how to register and when to register, and there's different types of VAT to register. And what you can also do, one of the things you could do, is you can claim for purchases that were made before the registration date. So when we set up Sinners Music, we bought quite a lot of equipment for the studio, computers and synthesizers and mixers and audio interfaces, and we were able to claim all of that VAT back. The fact that it had been the previous year didn't really matter. So you don't have to register for VAT straight away as you're building the business. So you could get other things out of the way first, and then you could register for VAT when either you get close to the threshold or you think it's going to be beneficial to do so. Now, the way that the VAT is paid or claimed back is that there are other systems, but the standard VAT registration system, which is the only one I can really talk about, is that every 3 months I have to complete a VAT return, and I list everything that we have bought, that we are going to claim the VAT back on, and everything that we have sold. So in this case, that would be things that are sold through our shop, so the things we sell online, but also our studio services, where we've issued a VAT receipt to a client for that sort of thing. So all of those invoices, we need to let HMRC know, and we pay or claim back the VAT every quarter. And what happens is that once we've done a VAT return, say that we had a £300 VAT bill, that would be paid within the next 14 to 21 days. And they give us an actual date after we've submitted it as to when it's going to be taken out of our bank account. It's all done by direct debit. And it's very straightforward. The easiest way to do it is we keep spreadsheets. So we keep a VAT spreadsheet, which is all the things that we buy in, which is allocated an invoice number, and everything that goes out is allocated a different set of invoice numbers. I'm happy to share that sort of spreadsheet with people if you're interested. If you want to know more about any of these sort of topics, leave me a comment down below, and I'm happy to try and answer any questions we can about them. Thanks very much for watching. In the next video, we'll start looking at how we can start to build our website. So if you like what I do, hit the subscribe button, and a thumbs up is always much appreciated. And if you'd like to be notified when my next video goes live, ding that little bell. I'm going to try and upload these recording labeled videos every Tuesday at 4 PM UK time, so that we have a sort of consistency as to when the videos go live. So thanks very much. See you in the next video. Any questions or comments, please let me know. Cheers now. Bye bye.